Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So in this video I'm going to explain Redux for beginners. Redux is a very advanced and complex topic in React.js, but today I will simplify to my best. So Redux is an advanced state management system in React.js. So this is a vague formal definition, but I will explain you with more examples as well. So let me shift the view to my computer. Okay, so now I'm on my computer. As you can see, I have opened Trello. Oh, why did I open Trello? In one of my YouTube video, there was a comment, do you script your videos? And I said no. But actually, by scripting means I do not type it anywhere or I do not write it anywhere. I just create cards in Trello. And as you can see over here, the URL, actually I am blurring it out because it is a clone. I made this Trello clone. I thought of explaining this clone but actually this was a complex system, so a complex application, that is why I'll do it later. And if I have a huge response for this Trello clone, I will do it for sure. So now this is a Trello clone. Let me show you some functionalities as well. So this is the place where you can change the background, and it really works. And after that you can go to your profile like this, and you can go to the boards, and there are 3 boards as of now, but I'm in YouTube video schedule, and there are cards. I can drag it like this. So the reason I opened this is because this card over here, this list over here is the script of this video. I wanted to show you the script of this video. So first I'll be explaining the restaurant example, that is the example for Redux, and then the context API versus Redux, and then why Redux, and then context API versus Redux, who wins, then how to use Redux the best. So this is what I'm going to cover this video for. But first, what should I do? I should do the restaurant example for sure. So first, let me open Notepad because I want to draw something. So first I will explain you the restaurant example. So first, in a restaurant we have people coming in. Okay, so let's say these are the people, and give me a minute. So these are the people. So the people come in and they say an order, or an order. For example, you have beef Wellington. You have an order. Okay, this is an order, and these orders reach to the waiters, of course. So these are the waiters, and these waiters carry these orders and they go to the kitchen and inform the chefs. Am I right? So they inform the chefs, and after that is done and the food is prepared, then what is done? There is something known as a trigger event. So sorry, by mistake I said some Redux terminology. So you'll be having the chef will be sending out the dishes. So let's say these are the dishes, and these get notified to the waiters, of course, because they need to take it out. And these waiters finally take it back to the people. So this is the restaurant example. Let's recapitulate this again. So first, the people come in, and next, what happens? They give an order, for example, beef Wellington, and that order reaches to the waiter, who takes the order, and the order goes to the kitchen or the chef, and the chef prepares the order. So we are in this stage. So the chef prepares the order and sends the order back to the waiter. The chef sends the order back to the waiter through something known as a trigger. So trigger, or the chef is calling basically. Let's say the chef is calling. In Redux terminology, it is called as a trigger event. And after that, the waiter sends it back to people. Wasn't that interesting? It's actually unique. It is actually a general routine. But what is something that is common with Redux? That is what I'm going to explain now. So first, let me erase all this. Perfect. Everything is erased. So now let's map all these to Redux. First, we have the component. I guess if you are watching this video, you know some knowledge at least about React.js, something like components, something like states, and something like props. So I guess you have this knowledge: components, hooks, states, and props. These three are the basics. So even if you don't know them, so this is not the video for you, but I'll create a new video regarding all these as well. I'll be creating a new course on React.js, so don't worry. But this video is for them who knows all these things. So first, here is the component. So here's the component, as you know, and after this, the component sends an order. Sorry, the component sends an action. So in the restaurant example, we had the order, but in Redux terminology, it is called as an action. The action may be anything, like the action may be get user details, the action may be set user details, the action may be login user, anything that is the action. And this action goes into something known as a reducer. So the reducer is like a waiter. It takes the action to something known as a central store. So basically we have stores in Redux. So what the stores contain all these actions, and they process everything inside the store. So the reducer takes the action. The action is basically the action is basically what the component tells you to do. So the action gets into the central store. Once the action gets into the central store, then the central store processes the information, and after all the process is done, then the central store triggers the reducer again. So there's something known as a trigger event over here. If there's any change, then again we have the reducer. Now the only actions go into reducer, but now the central store pushes the trigger event and the component directly gets notified. So just like this. So now this will get the data from the central store in the form of a state or even a prop. So this is how it is done. So this is traditional Redux. So this is how the process is done in a visual way. I hope you understood. Let me recapitulate and tell it once more. So first, the component gives out an action, and the action goes into a reducer. So action is just what the component tells you to do, and the action goes into the reducer, which is like a waiter, and the reducer takes the action to the central store. The central store is I guess you don't know what is a central store, so a bit of explanation for that. So I guess you know the app component. For every React.js application, there is an app component by default. So let's say this is the app component. That square over here is an app component. Let me change the color. So now, what is a central store? The central store is wrapped around the app component or the root component. So what is the highest level? It is wrapped around. So the central store is wrapped like that. So that blue circle is the central store. So how do you think the central store can get all the data and send the data to every component? Like it can send data to almost every component in the application. It can send like that because of something known as a central store, which is wrapped around a component. Because if something is wrapped around a component, it is like a data layer. It is wrapped around the root component and it is like a data layer. Now it can send the data to any subcomponent it wants. So that is a basic example for central store. And after that we have the trigger event, and it directly gets notified to the component. So now as we are done with this, what is the next card? Let's go to Trello itself. Okay, so the next one is Context API versus Redux. So first, in order to explain you this, what is Context API? What is the difference between a Context API and Redux? So the answer might be so lame, but it is the correct answer. The difference is that Redux is more syntax, or it is complicated, or Context API has less lines of code but still usable. It all of the process which I told you, the action, trigger event, everything, it is the same. but the only difference is that Redux has more lines of code and it's complex to write, while Context API is easy to write, and it takes less lines of code. So the answer seems lame. Then we should definitely use Context API, but there is still a difference, because in the fourth card I'll be explaining you Context API versus Redux. Or let me make a change. Let me take it to the top. So what is the difference? If we keep a competition between Context API and Redux, who wins? So the answer is that Redux is preferable. What? Redux is preferable for huge applications, like if you have 100,000 if you have more traffic, basically 100,000 people or more, then Redux is preferable. But for small applications, small blogs or small websites, Context API is a 200% preferable. But if you're using huge applications, then Redux is the best. The Context API is also Redux, but it is a part of Redux. So Redux, over here I'm talking about traditional Redux. Traditional Redux is scalable, but Context API is not recommended for more traffic. So who wins? It depends on the situation. So we completed 3 cards. Hooray! So now we're in the 4th card. Why Redux? So why should we use Redux at all? We have states, we have props. Why should we use Redux? Let me open Notepad. I need to draw something for you. So over here, first, you know that we have something known as the app component. I guess you know that by now. And inside an app component, we might have many sub-components, such as, let me draw it. Inside app component, we might have something known as a header component, let's say. And inside the header component, like header means navbar, I mean that. And inside the header component, we might have something known as the search bar component. Who knows? And because in our header there is a search bar usually, so inside the search bar component we might have another component known as X. Let's say search bar is the simplest form actually, but let's say we have another component. Now I will tell you where is the problem. If I need to send a piece of data, so I have a state variable. Let's say I have a state variable inside the app component. The state variable is named Y or X. No, Y, because X is already named. Let's take Y. The state variable is Y. Now, in order for this component known as X to get that state, what should we do? We need to send Y as a prop to header. Okay, I sent it as a prop, and header needs to send Y as a prop to search. Yeah, and search needs to send Y as a prop to X. So can you see the trouble? Where the trouble lies over here? The trouble is that it is a long process and it is not efficient and not scalable. So if you send Y as a prop to header and Y as a prop to search and Y as a prop to X, it is so time taking that it is not that possible. So now what is required is Redux. So how can Redux change this? Let me delete everything and I'll draw it from scratch. I'll draw it a bit faster. Perfect. So now what is this? This is app. And what is this? This is header. What is this? This is search. What is this? This is component X. Okay. So now how is Redux used? So Redux is used like this. Redux wraps this our whole project in a data layer like this. Got the idea? So we have the app component, and the app component has header has search has X component. But once Redux is used, it is completely changed. Actually, this in Redux terms known as a provider. Okay, these terms are very important. Please watch this video again if you have any doubt. So this is known as a provider. That data layer is known as a provider. So the provider is wrapped around the app component. So the terminology completely changes. So inside the provider, app is there. So inside the app, header is there. Inside the header, search is there. And inside the search, X component is there. So do you understand the difference between without Redux and with Redux? So without Redux, app is the highest level And with Redux, provider is the highest level. Inside provider, the whole project is there. So now how does this make a difference? So the difference is that now how is it useful? How is it better than the prop system? So the difference is that provider can send data to any component directly. That is one of the best approaches. So if I have a state in app.js, what I can do is, as I have told you earlier, there's an action, there's a dispatch and everything in the central store that happens over here. So there's a state variable in app and the app sends out an action. So now you are able to get all that information consolidated. So you have an action, and inside that and from that action, the reducer takes it to the central store. And the central store processes all the information, and the central store stores that state variable. So the central store, it actually stores that piece of information which is from the app component. And what happens is, now I can get this variable to X. See how easy it is directly from app to X. That is one of the most efficient methods I have ever seen. Directly from app, one component, and to the other, just like that. And it is all possible due to this provider and due to complete Redux. So now let's move on forward. I guess you got the intuition. So over here we have why Redux, which is over. Last part, how to use Redux the best. When you're coding in Redux, the syntax is quite tough, but I have an extension in Chrome called Redux DevTools. Let me show it to you. Actually, this Trello clone which you are seeing right now is built with Redux actually. That is why I told that this application is tough, and I recorded the first 2 videos of this Trello clone, but I discontinued after that because it was a bit hard for me to record as well, and it was time consuming. So let me open Redux DevTools. Give me a minute. I will reload the page. Yeah, here it is, Redux DevTools. So how can we use Redux DevTools to maximize our output with Redux? So when you're using Redux, you cannot actually debug that much. So in order to debug, over here you have actions. So in this component, I have sent out an action known as verify request. And verify request has some data sent to the central store. So these are all actions. So using this, you can trace out what is happening in Redux. So this is how you maximize your output with Redux. You can check your actions, you can check your reducers, you can check your central store, you can check your data. So this is a very nice extension. Note it down, Redux DevTools. So that ends our Trello cards, and that ends our video. So hope you liked this video. Please give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any doubt, please comment down below. And if you have any more doubts, like if you have any doubts in your code, please send it to me at Instagram at decacode73 at decacode73 itself. So please be sure to go to decacode73.com and register to some of my courses. All the courses are free, but they are worth it. I have put in a lot of time to my website. Please check that as well. So that is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. For now, peace.